In the heart of the vast African savannah, where the rising sun paints the sky in brilliant shades of gold and orange, there lived a magnificent lion. He was the undisputed king of all animals, his power known far and wide. Every single morning, without fail, his mighty roar would echo across the land. It was a sound that shook the leaves on the acacia trees, sent birds fluttering into the air, and served as a powerful reminder to every creature, big and small, of who ruled this wild and beautiful kingdom. But this lion, for all his strength and majesty, carried a great weakness, his pride. It was a pride so immense, so all-consuming, that it often blinded him to the world around him, casting a shadow over his judgment. And, as we all know, pride can sometimes make even the wisest of kings act foolishly. Living amongst the other animals was a small, unassuming hare. But what this hare lacked in size, he more than made up for in wit. He was clever, quick-thinking, and his mind was always buzzing with ideas and tricks. While the other animals trembled at the mere thought of the lion, the hare observed him from a safe distance. He watched the king's every move, his every display of power, and thought to himself, perhaps brute strength isn't the only thing that matters. Perhaps a clever mind, no matter how small its owner, can teach even the biggest of kings a lesson he'll never forget. One sweltering afternoon, the lion's roar thundered across the savannah, but this time it carried a new command. He summoned all the animals to gather before his rocky den. "I am your king," he declared, his voice booming with authority. "And as your king, I demand a tribute. From this day forward, one of you will come to my den each morning. You will be my breakfast." A wave of fear and silence washed over the assembled creatures. The zebras shuffled their hooves nervously, the gazelles lowered their heads in despair, and the monkeys chattered in hushed, frightened tones. No one dared to speak. No one dared to protest the king's cruel decree. The reign of terror had begun. Day after day, an animal would make the lonely, final journey to the lion's den. The savannah, once vibrant with life, became a place of sorrow and dread. The animals lived in constant fear, wondering whose turn it would be next. And then, the day came when the lot fell to the small, clever hare. But as the other animals watched him, expecting to see terror in his eyes, they saw something else entirely. The hare didn't panic. He didn't tremble. Instead, a small, knowing smile played on his lips. He said to himself, with a quiet confidence that baffled everyone, Today, this tyranny will end. I will put a stop to this once and for all." Instead of rushing to his doom, the hare took his time. He ambled along the dusty path, nibbled on a few sweet blades of grass, and even stopped to watch a column of ants march by. He arrived at the lion's den much later than expected. The lion, whose stomach was rumbling with hunger, was pacing back and forth, his tail lashing in irritation. When he saw the tiny hare approaching, he let out a furious growl. You dare to keep your king waiting, you miserable little morsel." The hare, showing no fear, bowed low. "Oh, mighty and powerful king," he began, his voice filled with feigned panic and respect. "Please forgive my tardiness. It was not my intention to displease you. On my way here, a terrible thing happened. I was stopped by another lion. The lion stopped his pacing. Another lion. He snarled, his eyes narrowing. Yes, your majesty," the hare continued, his voice trembling convincingly. "And he was incredibly arrogant. He declared that he was the true king of this savannah, and that he said you were nothing but a fraud, an impostor." The lion's golden eyes burned with pure fury. The very idea of another lion in his kingdom, challenging his authority, was an insult he could not bear. His pride was wounded, and his rage began to boil. "Another lion! In my kingdom," he roared, the sound shaking the very ground. "Where is this coward? Take me to him at once. I will tear him limb from limb and show him who the real king is." This was the moment the hare had been waiting for. "Of course, your majesty." "Follow me," he said, and with a flick of his ears, he darted off. He led the enraged lion across the savannah, through tall grasses and around ancient baobab trees, until they reached a place where a deep, still well was hidden amongst the rocks. The water inside was as clear and reflective as a mirror. "There he is, my king," the hare whispered, pointing a paw towards the well. "Look, deep inside, he's waiting for you, just as I said." Blinded by his own fury, the lion stomped to the edge of the well and peered into its depths. And there, staring back at him from the water's surface, was a powerful lion with a furious expression, its mane bristling with anger. It was, of course, his own reflection, but the foolish, proud lion didn't realize it. He let out a deafening roar of challenge, and the other lion in the well roared back, its mouth open in a silent echo. This was the final straw. Consumed by rage and an overwhelming need to prove his dominance, the lion gathered all his strength and leapt into the well to attack his rival. There was a tremendous splash. The still water erupted as the lion tumbled and thrashed, his claws finding nothing but water and the slippery, muddy walls of the well. He struggled, choked, and fought against his own reflection until he was utterly exhausted. When he finally managed to drag his dripping, humiliated body out of the well, gasping for air and covered in mud, the savannah was quiet. The hare was gone, but from a nearby bush, the lion could hear the faint sound of soft, gentle laughter. On that day-drenched and defeated the king of the savannah learned the hardest and most important lesson of his life, that uncontrolled pride and anger can cause even the mightiest to fall, and that true power doesn't always come from size or strength. Sometimes it comes from a clever mind. Strength might rule for a moment, but wisdom, my friends, rules forever. Thanks so much for watching this story with me today. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you won't miss our next adventure. We'll see you in the next video.